Hi, I'm Marty Nemko. Parenting may be the most important subject that I don't teach in school or college, and it's among the most challenging, at least emotionally. Many talks on parenting can make you feel inadequate if you're not perfectly consistent, ever striking the balance between setting limits and providing freedom, with no helicoptering, tiger momming allowed. This and the next few installments in this series focuses on potent parenting practices that are realistic in the real world. They're what I call doables. Because so much parenting literature focuses on birth to 5, this series is going to focus on K-12, that is from 5-year-olds to 18-year-olds. Today's installment is on choosing your child's school. That's probably the most potent single action a parent can take. Make the one-time effort to get your child into a well-suited school, and you have gone a long way to ensuring your child gets an appropriate education and has a peer group that you feel good about. But how much choice do you actually have? Well, many school districts allow parents to send their kid to any school in the district. That, however, is often restricted, for example, by space limitations at an individual school, or if your child's ethnicity is overrepresented at the school. The good news, however, is that even in such situations, you can usually appeal, and perhaps win, if you can make the case that your child would be much better served at a particular school, whether academically, socially, for example, if he's the target or she's the target of a dangerous bully, or sometimes even if it would take far less time for your child to get to a particular school. Sometimes even an inter-district transfer, rather than intra, what I was just talking about was an intra-district transfer within the school district. But sometimes even an inter-district, that's between districts, transfers are granted. That is, as I said, a transfer to a school outside your local school district. Now, most often that's done when the receiving school offers a program that is important to your child that isn't offered in your home district. But I know of inter-district transfers that have been granted even just because a sibling attends there. Your chances? Depends on the district. It depends on who happens to review your application, and of course, on how well you've made your case. This is all by means of introducing the idea that you may have more choice of your child's public school than you might think, thereby avoiding the inordinate expense, even assuming you can afford it, and other disadvantages of private school. Those disadvantages can include a more entitled or problemed student population, and fewer curricular or extracurricular choices. Public schools are funded by taxpayer dollars, which often are very more richly funded than many private schools, especially church-affiliated ones. On the other hand, some private schools provide a superior experience for the well-suited child. My daughter, I'm kind of eclectic about it all, my daughter attended her neighborhood elementary school, then an intra-district transfer to a better-suited public junior high school, and then private high school. One called College Prep. Google. It's a fabulous school. It has a horrible name. Sounds very stodgy, but it's a wonderful, wonderful, rigorous but wonderful school. Very humane in addition to being rigorous. It's in Oakland, California. In any event, now let's turn to picking a school. How do you select a school? Making a fine choice is more doable than you might think. First, start by checking the standardized achievement test scores of your local district's schools. They're usually published on the district's website or on a local newspaper's website. A school's test scores may be evidence of teaching quality, but more certainly it is of the average student's ability and achievement motivation at that school. Generally, it's wisest for your kid to attend a school where he or she would be in the middle or maybe stretch slightly. 2. Consider your friends' and neighbors' opinions. That can represent years of unbiased experience with particular schools. 3. Visit at least 2 schools. Make an appointment for you and usually your child to meet with the principal or a counselor. Mention you'd also appreciate a quick visit to a teacher's class that your child might be in if she enrolls. What about how should that conversation with a school staff member go? Well, you might start with a question like, I'm looking for a well-suited school for my child and wonder if you tell me a little bit about your school. That may or may not unearth distinguishing features. For example, maybe the school is particularly good for low achievers or for high achievers. Maybe it emphasizes the arts, or STEM, or sports, or multiculturalism, or activism. Of course, don't expect to hear much that's negative about the school. Understandably, staff can be invested in convincing concerned parents like you to have their kids enrolled. Besides, staff usually needs to believe in their school, or at least rationalize that they do, to feel good about coming to work every day. Next in the conversation, describe your child's strengths, weaknesses, and differences, and ask whether the person thinks that your child would fit well at the school. For example, a parent might say, "Emily is rather quiet and bookish, but quite bright. Might she fit easily at this school?" You might encourage your child to ask a question during the conversation. And at the end of the conversation, do mention that when you made the appointment, you requested a visit to a teacher's class that your child might be placed in. Also ask permission to wander the school a bit. Generally, that'll give you a more valid impression of the school than just visiting the class that the staff member wants you to visit. How do you go about visiting a classroom? What do you look for in a classroom visit? Well, first, just take in the vibe. Do the kids, especially those that seem like your child, seem engaged, reasonably contented? Look at any work on classroom walls or that students are working on. Does it look interesting? Well corrected? If it feels appropriate, ask to see an individual child's notebook. After you walk out, ask yourself how you would feel about being a student in that class. Ask your child how he or she would feel. When the recess bell rings, head for the playground or in inclement weather, wherever the kids are spending recess. Is the interaction among the kids generally kind? Could you see your child fitting in? Look for a few kids who seem like your child. Explain that you're considering having your child attend and wonder what they think of the school and what they like and don't like about it. Encourage your child to ask a question of a child or two. And certainly, as you're leaving, ask your child how he or she would feel about attending that school. The next installments in this doable series are going to be on homework and how parents roll in that, oppositional behavior, friends, drugs, sex, and planning for college and other post-high school options. So lots on parenting. But for now, I do thank you for watching. I'm Marty Nemko. I welcome your thumbs up, accept your thumbs down, welcome your comments. You're hitting the share button and sharing your social media and or subscribing to my channel. And in any event, I do thank you for watching. I'm Marty Nemko.